2025 at 2 o'clock. At the outset, I have reviewed the minutes from the October 22nd, 2025 meeting and can approve those. In just a moment here, we will have our clerk swear in any witnesses. So if you would like to speak on an item today, when called, if you'll stand and raise your hand, we'll get you sworn in. We will then go through each case. I'll call it by case number and address. Staff will come forward and present. I'll ask if anyone in the audience would wish to speak to an item. You can come forward, we'll have some discussion, and we will resolve each case one by one. So with that, we will go through the swearing in of city staff, respondents, and witnesses.
Please stand and raise your right hand. In the matter to which you're about to give testimony, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The witnesses have been sworn in.
Thank you. All right, we will start today with old business. The first of those is CCSM 0343-2025. This is 401 Crawford Road.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
The address is 401 Crawford Road, case number CCSM 0343-2025. This property is zone R6, multifamily residential. Violations cited originally were IPMC 304.1, general exterior structure, IPMC 304.3, premise identification, IPMC 304.10, stairways, decks, porches, and balconies, IPMC 304.13, windows, skylight, and door frames, IPMC 309.1, infestation, IPMC 604.3, electrical safety hazards. On September 24, 2025, the special magistrate found Dustin Kalavistan and/or entity in violation of IPMC codes 304.1, 304.3, 304.10, 304.13, 309.1, and 604.3, and gave until October the 17th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance. If the magistrate found that the violations were not corrected by this date, a fine of $50 per day for violation of IPMC 304.1, 309.1, 604.3, and $25 per day for violation of IPMC 304.3 and 304.13 shall be imposed for each day the violation exists. The magistrate's order was posted on the property on September the 26th, 2025. The order was mailed, certified mail to the property owner, and is unfortunately still working through the U.S. Postal Service. Excuse me. On October the 22nd, 2025, the special magistrate ordered an intent to issue fine with the following fines: a fine of $50 per day for violation of IPMC 304.1, 309.1, 604.3, and $25 per day for violation of IPMC 304.3 and 304.13, commencing on October 24, 2025. The magistrate's order was posted on the property on October the 28th, 2025. The order was mailed, certified mail to the property owner, and is moving through the network. They just changed the name. An inspection was conducted on October 24, 2025. During that inspection, the following codes were found to remain in violation: 304.10, 304.13, and 604.3. On November the 19th, 2025, another inspection was conducted, and the following codes were found to be remaining in violation: 304.10 and 304.13. I had responded to, or I sent an email to the owner, property owner, advising of the results of the inspection, and he is aware of those inspection results, and I'd like to provide that to you.
Thank you.
At that time, on the last inspection, the electrical was corrected, so I then put that into a compliance status. Today at approximately 12:57 p.m., I pulled up a status of the permits for the property, and I have that printed out. I have provided him a copy of that. One is showing to be expired. The other one is showing to be fees due. And let me give you a copy of that.
Thank you.
Okay. It is my recommendation to the special magistrate to impose a fine of $25 per day for violation of IPMC 304.10 and 304.13 commencing on October 24, 2025, and continue until the property is brought into full compliance, fine not to exceed a maximum amount of $25,000. As you'll notice from my email, I did mention and state that also I do recognize that the issuing of the permit and the permit actions, when completed, would bring that property into compliance. We are not going to wait for the complete compliance to stop a fine in the event that the permits gets issued. Based on the fact this is not a repeat violation, we would stop the fines at that point in time in the understanding that good faith, the permit would be followed through. I did explain to him it would be very important to follow through on that, because if he didn't, then it would be a repeat violation that would come back and therefore could be subjected to other fines. So I did want to mention that, but that's what we're asking for at this time.
Okay. And just a quick question for you. So
Sure.
604.3, the electrical system, was in compliance as of 11/14, but not the original date.
That's correct, but I have put it in a compliance status,
Sure.
so therefore, again, it's not in a violation status, so I'm not asking for a fine on that, excuse me, on the electrical hazards.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Would anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? If you'll state your name and affiliation for the ad. or
Yes,
for the
Dustin
record.
Kalustian and the property owner. So I was following along there, but I believe, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, every violation is resolved except for anything that required a permit. There were a couple we weren't sure of, the electrical being one of them. I didn't know when they came out if they said, hey, we have to file a permit, but because it was just a cover of a junction box, they were able to replace that box without permit. So everything is done there, and the permit process, they did go back and forth a couple times, but John suggested I show this to you. I just got another update that it shows that it is in review for 401 Crawford.
This is for 401, and it's showing the status.
It was something, the PDF, I guess, one of the PDFs was showing locked, and so it had to be resent in for the product approval that came from Gulfstream Glass.
And this is on, I just want to make sure I'm tracking the permit numbers correct. Okay. So it says status in review. Here on the kind of permit summary, it says permit status, fees paid.
Correct.
So it's fees paid, not ready to issue, just in review? Do we know? Yeah.
The fees will be
Okay.
paid, and then it starts the review process.
Okay.
So it's literally
Just in
gone
review.
from fees paid to
In review.
in review
Got
now.
it. Okay.
And I really appreciate your consideration last time about the length of time it takes. They told me, 4 to 5 weeks for full review, but right now, if there's a document kickback, it usually takes like 3 to 4 days. They've been really nice if you're able to come in and kind of push it along, which we did. But that should suffice for everything. So we did complete everything that didn't require a permit, didn't want to overstep, and as soon as that's approved, there's no delay in starting work. So my hope is to withhold any fines based on, I've thought of done this at max speed since we met last time. Before that, not so much.
Okay, perfect. And it's just that, so there are 2 permits on the summary, one noting expired, that's from 2021, that was a re-roof. We're only focused on the 2025
Correct.
permit.
Well, but for diligence, the re-roof, we did reach out to them and make sure that they closed it out. I mean, that was done
Okay.
by a big roofing company, and
Okay.
yeah.
It wasn't, it's not a violation of 171. I did not cite that.
It's just a
But our
cleanup.
problem is
so-
that if 171 were be an issue dealing with it, that permit would have to be cleared as well.
Okay.
But that's not cited, so that doesn't have.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Anything else on this one?
I think that's it, unless you have any questions for me.
Okay, I think we've covered my questions. Thank
Okay.
you for now.
Do you retain that, or do you, the
We'll
document?
keep a copy for the record, so we'll
Okay.
make sure that it's in the formal minutes. If
Okay.
you need a
I can
copy-
get it at the end,
Okay.
or maybe I could just get
I
another
say
one
we'll
from
keep
them.
it forever, so you might have to take a picture.
I'll get another one from them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So what we are going to do on this one, I think, that will carry over, is I recognize that this has been going on since June. I am glad to see progress recently, a lot of progress kind of getting there up to speed. I don't want to fine a property owner for review time of the city, I will say. So, all that to say, I don't think it's going to get cleaned up today, perchance, perhaps. What I can say is that it looks like from 10/24 to 11/10, that was the timing for compliance that a permit was not in for. So we probably will be looking at a fine for those two sections for that period. It will not run until the permit is issued. I want to toll it while permit review is in place and see what happens. So I think we're still at intent to issue and coming back again for a final determination. Yeah.
Based upon that being your situation, staff's recommendation is this: we do have a very busy January already. However, recognizing that we want to probably resolve this as expeditiously as possible, I just want to bring to your attention that January is a very heavy hearing date.
It'd be fun, I'm just kidding. Kick off the new year.
Oh, we'll be here for a while.
So because of how we phrased it last time with the intent to issue, I think I will say that it will be an amended order of an intent to issue. I will flag those dates, that 10/24 to 11/10 for the two violations, 304.1 and 304.13. Those will be held, I'll say, in abeyance, pending permit issuance. If that permit's issued and the violation is gone, this will be a very quick, nothing further. This one has just moved around on us a lot, and so I don't want the permit to expire, there to be more issues coming down the line. We want to keep an eye on it. I will figure out how to put that into the words of an order.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And then the next case here is CCSM 002520, nope.
Can I
Zero.
stop you real fast?
Yep,
If you write that order in a particular way, if it comes into compliance, can we remove it and just have that order stand then?
we can. I think
Okay.
that what we can say is that as of right now, we will impose a fine at the stated values for 304.1 and 304.13 from the dates of 10/24 to 11/10. And if the permits are issued and there is no lapse in time, and that closes out the violations without further action needed, it's done. That's the
Okay.
stated timeframe.
That's fine. Otherwise, it will be heard in January.
Right.
Okay.
I don't think it
Sounds
needs to come back again if everything is closed out.
That's
Yeah.
understandable.
Okay. So the next one, to correctly state the case number, is CCSM 0339-2025. This is 403 Crawford.
This is a neighboring property. He does own both parcels. That's the reason for a case that seems very similar to the last one. The address is 403 Crawford Road, case number CCSM 0339-2025. This property is zoned R6, multifamily residential. Violations cited were IPMC 304.1, IPMC 304.3, IPMC 304.10, IPMC 304.13, IPMC 604.3, IPMC 704.6F, and Section 26-171, subsection A, permits required. On September 24, 2025, the special magistrate found Dustin Kaluskistan and/or entity in violation of IPMC 304.1, 304.3, 304.10, 304.13, 604.3, 704.6, subsection F, and Section 26-171, and gave until October the 17th, 2025, to bring the property into full compliance. If the special magistrate found that the violations were not corrected by this date, a fine of $50 per day for violation of IPMC 304.1, 604.3, and Section 26-171, and $25 per day for violation of IPMC 304.3, 304.10, 304.13, 704.6 shall be imposed for every day that the violation existed. The magistrate's order was posted on the property on September 26, 2025. The order was mailed, certified mail to the owner, and is working through the system. On October the 22nd, 2025, the special magistrate ordered an intent to issue fine with the following fines: a fine of $50 per day for violation of IPMC 304.1, 309.1, 604.3, and $25 per day for violation of IPMC 304.3, 304.13, commencing on, on October the 24th, 2025. The magistrate's order was posted on property on October the 28th, 2025. The order was mailed, certified mail to the property owner, and is moving through the network. An inspection was conducted on October the 24th, 2025. During the inspection, the following codes were found to remain in violation: IPMC 304.1, 304.10, 304.13, 604.3, and Section 26-171. On November the 19th, 2025, another inspection was conducted, and the following codes were found to remain in violation: IPMC 304.3, 304.1, 304.10, 304.13, and Section 26-171. I have a printout of the permit status for this property, as well as there is one that's expired, that is an electrical repair, and the other one is the alteration remodel, which would be taking care of these issues, hopefully, and it was just printed out today.
Thank you.
And it's showing that fees due, or fees paid. During that inspection that I just did with him on the on the 19th, on November 19th, the 604.3, the fire, the electrical shock hazards, fire hazards was in compliance. Therefore, that's the reason we're not asking for that. It is my recommendation to the special magistrate to impose a fine of $50 per day for violation of IPMC 304.1 and Section 26-171, and $25 per day for violation of IPMC 304.10, 304.13 shall be imposed for each day that the violation exists. Fine not to exceed maximum amount of $25,000.
Great, thank you. I have no questions on this one. Does anyone else from the audience wish to speak on this item?
Okay. Just want to bring to your attention, this one did involve the 171, which is a dealing with permits, and there is an expired permit in this case.
Yes, pretty similar story on this one. There was a couple things kicked back on the permit that was needed. One of them on this one was strange. They needed the application re-signed because it didn't accept the digital. I guess when the general contractor signs it, there's a digital sign-off, but for some reason 401 accepted that. 403 needed a paper one, so they had to resubmit a notarized paper permit. Again, on this property, everything that does not require a permit is in compliance. And then a little thing about the date of October 17th to 24th. I know when I met with John, I believe the first half of the day on the 24th, and we basically said, hey, there's still some things that you could get in compliance, but they need to be done by the time we come back out here. So everything was in compliance by the time he came back out there, but there was still technically some time left on that October 24th day. So he just said to mention that, but yeah, that's the recap of this one. Everything in compliance that does not require a permit being reviewed, and it needed that application paper re-signed and notarized.
For
So-
the expired electrical repair permit, is that being reopened? Are you working on that?
Yes, yes, yes.
So that's been applied, it just doesn't show as reopened, it still shows as expired, so that will, is that
Oh, I
under?
think it needs to be, or does it need to be reopened to be closed, or is there just like a termination?
We'd have
We
to,
talked to them about the
Sure.
termination. of
I'm
it.
not the building department. All I can tell you is that when we look at the permits required section, it requires permits to be issued, and a expired permit is no longer issued. It's actually same thing as no permit, so it would then hang up the compliance of 171. So if that explains that to you.
yeah, so I would say if you don't have a copy of the permit printout, we can work to get you one.
I do.
He has one, okay.
John provided me one, yeah.
Okay.
And
So-
he was very clear on just advising me to get those closed in case, again, there was a problem with this one, then that could get in the way
Sure.
of rectifying what's before the code compliance office currently,
Yes.
so.
Agreed. Yeah, so then if we can just, if you want to work with building and permitting on that expired status, however they need it closed out, just so that that doesn't hang up the 171 review, that would be perfect. Okay, good. Those answer my questions on that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. For this one, similar to the last case, and I figured out a better way to phrase it, what we will do so far, assuming that the permits are all closed out, is that we will find the property currently in violation of the state of violations 304.1, 304.10, 304.13, and 26-171. We will impose a fine for the period from 10/24 to 11/10, as stated in the recommendation, for $25 a day for 2 violations, $50 a day for the other 2. In the event that the permit is not finalized, we will vacate this order and come back to a hearing for imposition of a new fine. But if that permit is final and everything is in compliance, it will be done. No need to come back.
And I believe he understands he needs to follow up on the electrical expired permit to clear this one. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
1 second here. Okay. That brings us to item number 3, which is CCSM 0025-2025, 595 Pecan Street. Or Pecan, however you want to
I'll
say
be
your
here for a little
5.
bit in front of you, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Okay, the address is 595 Pecan Street, case number CCSM 0025-2025. This property is zoned B3 Highway Service Business. Violation cited, section 26-171, permits required. LDR, section 504.01, general zoning restrictions B3. On August 27th, 2025, the special magistrate found Michael Christopher Blickner and/or entity in violation of section 26-171 and LDR 504.01 and gave until September 19th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance. If the special magistrate found that the violations were not corrected by that date, a fine of $50 per day for each violation shall be imposed for each day the violation exists. On September the 24th, 2025, the special magistrate continued the case until October 22nd, 2025 to allow time for compliance. On October the 22nd, 2025, the special magistrate imposed the fine to commence on November the 5th, 2025. On, on October the 31st, 2025, a site plan was submitted and is in review with an estimated review completion date of December the 17th, 2025. So it's in the future, but he did submit a site plan prior to the date that you stated.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring that to your attention. It is my recommendation to the special magistrate to continue the case to the January hearing, and if the property is not in compliance, to impose a fine of $50 per day for each violation commencing on November the 5th, 2025, and to continue until the property is brought into full compliance, fine not to exceed the maximum amount of $10,000.
My question on this one, which is great clarity that he submitted before the cutoff. At the last hearing, we implemented a fine, depending on that day. And so is the recommendation to hold that fine in abeyance until the review is complete, or vacate it and kind of see where we are? Just a staff recommendation, I know.
This is kind of uncharted territory for us because this is different than has been in the past. That
Sure.
doesn't mean that we can't change the flow sometimes of the way streams run. Again, I'm just going to say, we make our recommendations based upon the past and what is standards, but we are completely open to whatever the magistrate would like to. So I'm going to ask the magistrate to please tell us what you feel would be the proper thing in this
Sure.
case.
Yeah, I just think that the proposed order of continuance, I'll need to work on what that looks like with the fine previously. but, yeah.
It's one of those strange situations where we did have a continuance. I didn't feel right in not asking for a continuance, considering the city is reviewing a site plan, however, that you instructed him to get. However, unfortunately, it's not approved,
yet.
so therefore, we refer back to the previous orders.
Sure, certainly. Okay, thank you. Does anyone here from the public wish to speak on this item? If you'll come forward and state your name and affiliation with the property.
I'm Michael Blicker, I'm the owner of the property. How are you doing today?
Good.
So far, what I have is, as of last time, everything was put in. I have a letter here from the city saying that the application was accepted as a date and time. That meaning that all my paperwork that I was provided is in. She can have that copy, yep. And then, as of last Friday, at 1:52, I finally got an email from Stephanie Ferrer, and the site plan has been reviewed. There's a bunch of comments in there. I have Tom DeSimone working on those. He actually met on the property today. We're hoping to have everything else that they're asking for. They have everything they need. They just need like certain things moved around on the plan.
Okay.
So, as of Friday, we should have that.
Thank you.
So things are moving forward, just it's a little slow.
And I just want to clarify, you have both a site plan and a building permit in process?
Absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. Anything else to add?
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, based on the status of this case, and the timing of the submittal before the compliance request, and the kind of general intent to toll while it's under city review, because that's outside of the applicant's control, what we will do is enter into an amended order from the last one to note that the property had progress towards compliance before the date of November 5th was the compliance date. Yes. We will continue it as proposed to the January 28th, 2026 hearing for a review of the site plan and permits, in which case the fine may be reinstated or modified, and we'll work on that. Thank you. The next item here is 5C, CCSM 0057, 2025, 436 North Myrtle Ave.
The address is 436 North Myrtle Avenue. Case number CCSM 0057-2025. This property is zoned R3, single-family residential. Violation cited, section 26-171, subsection A, permits required. Section 74-146, local business tax imposed. On October the 22nd, 2025, the special magistrate found Easy Flooring and Custom Trim LLC and/or entity in violation of section 26-171, subsection A, and 74-146 and gave until November the 14th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance. If the special magistrate found that the violations were not corrected by this date, a fine of $50 per day for section 26-171 subsection A, and per Florida statute 205.053, a one-time fine of $250 be imposed for operating without a BTR for section 74-146 until the property is brought into full compliance. The magistrate's order was posted on the property on October the 29th, 2025. The order was mailed, certified mail to the property owner and has a status of delivery attempted. To date, the BTR has been applied for. However, it is only an application with no further action taken, and that goes back to several months ago. It was applied for, but it was nothing ever done past that. Also, the permit for the stairs was issued but expired on September the 30th, 2025. So it never had any inspections. It was only issued. It's my recommendation to the special magistrate to impose a fine of $50 per day for section 26-171 subsection A, and per Florida statute 205.053, a one-time fine of $250 be imposed for operating without a BTR for section 74-146, commencing on November the 14th, 2025, and continuing until the property is brought into full compliance. Fine not to exceed the maximum amount of $15,000.
Thank you. I have no questions on this one. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this item? Okay. Seeing none. Based on the record and the testimony provided, we will find that the property is currently in violation of section 26-171 permits required, section 74-146 local business tax imposed. We will further find that we will impose a fine of $50 per day for violation 26-171 commencing on November 14th, 2025 until compliance is achieved, or until the limit of $15,000 is reached, and a one-time fee of $250 for violation of section 74-146. It's the respondent's burden to request a reinspection to be found in compliance. And we will move to our next item here, which is CCSM 0352-2025, 520 South Peninsula Avenue, Unit 2C8.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So this case for 520 South Peninsula Avenue was brought back to the special magistrate on August 27th, 2025. Special Magistrate Watts was here at the time. He imposed a fine of $50 per day commencing on August 20th, 2025 until permits are issued, and to revisit the case at the November 24th, 2025 hearing. On August 27th, 2025, the building official was still waiting for some resubmittals and additional information on the permits. Permit BLDC-00333-2025 was applied for on August 19th, 2025 and issued on September 14th, 2025. That was for the non-load-bearing exterior wall to be insulated with OSB-12 on center with weather-resistant barrier wall finish to be wire with stucco. Interior wall of half-inch gypsum board and finish to match existing exterior. Permit BLDC-00367-2025 was applied for on September 17th, 2025 and issued on October 23rd, 2025. This is for the installation of new support columns that were removed by the previous contractor. The City of NSB cited marker 33 for structural issues to include all alterations and missing support columns. Inspections have been conducted on the permits. The board order was mailed, certified mail. Property was posted on August 29th, 2025. It's staff's recommendation for the special magistrate to impose a fine totaling $1,200 for a total of 24 days at $50 per day. Fine was to commence on August 20th, 2025 and through September 14th, 2025, which is the date the last permit was issued. In the event the permits are not completed with all required inspections, the case will be brought back as a repeat case with fines up to $500 per day. I'm not asking, I don't want to really fine them in compliance. I just want to stop the fine because they have met the permit requirements. And then if we need to, if all the inspections are not followed through, we can either bring it back and readdress this fine or just bring it back as a repeat.
Perfect. Okay. So your recommendation would be similar to what we did with the other two sites where we find a fine for a period and say if the permit is not finalized, that'll be vacated and it'll come back.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? All right. Seeing none. Based on the evidence in the record and the testimony provided, we will enter an amended order, because we did have that standing one from Magistrate Watts, to find that the property is currently in violation of IPMC 304.6 exterior walls, that a fine of $50 per day for a total of 24 days will be imposed from September 14th, 2025 through 24 days following that to permit issuance. If those permits are not finalized, this order will be vacated and it will be returned to the magistrate for a new hearing and imposition of a new fine.
Thank you.
Our next item here, sorry about that, is 5D, item CCSM 0809, 2024, 512 Faulkner Street.
Hi.
Hello.
So 512 Faulkner Street, on October 22nd, the special magistrate found Kristen Duval and/or entity in violation of IPMC 304.7, roofs and drainage, and gave until November 14th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance with a hearing scheduled for November 24th to discuss any progress made. There were no discussion regarding a fine at that time. The special magistrate order was certified mailed to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on November 3rd, 2025. The special magistrate order was also posted on the property October 28th, 2025. Ms. Duval is here. She'll give you an update as far as to what she's done so far. The permit for the demolition still hasn't been issued. I did talk to the contractor, and he said he's ready to go as soon as it is issued.
Sure.
So my recommendation is to allow some additional time to comply and schedule the next hearing for January 28th, 2026.
You said the permit for the demolition of the structure and the rear was in. Has there been a permit applied for the roof?
Nothing for the roof,
Okay.
for the house.
All right, thank you. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? If you'd like to come forward and state your name for the record.
Yes, Kristen Duval,
Perfect.
and I would like to show you this, which is the most recent, well, it's a private.
I'll say if you'll hand it to me, and then if you'll do all the testimony at the microphone, so we have it for the record. But I will flip through as we, thank you.
What I understand is that the contractor is ready to demo the second that the permit's been approved. It's been in the works for quite a long while.
Sure.
And it's reading that it may not be issued until January 5th. I don't know how hard and firm that date is, or when to expect that the permit will actually be released. But when I spoke earlier with Beverly, it sounded like Lauren was expediting that and that the review would go quickly. But I have no real understanding of how to control that or what the timeline
Sure.
is.
And we understand that. That is for the demolition of the structure in the rear. Have you had any further discussions about the roof?
That is a meeting with people who are potential home to sell the home. So,
Okay.
yeah, and Lewis will do that when the time comes.
Okay. Okay. Anything else to add there?
I don't think so.
Okay, perfect. Well, then, based on the evidence of the record and the testimony provided, we're seeing some compliance here, so we will order that this case be continued to the January 28th, 2026 special magistrate meeting.
Thank you. Am I good?
Mm-hmm.
That it?
Yeah, that's it. See you in January.
And that was our last item of old business. Our first new business item is CCSM 0587 2025 110 Venetian Palms Boulevard.
So the next four cases, 5A, 5B, 5C, and 5D, are all the same owner with kind of the same violations. So case number CCB 0577-2025 is for vacant parcel. The subdivision is Venetian Bay's newest, whatever they call it, I can't think of the name of it, but it's Phase 6. So,
Okay.
yeah. So this is the vacant parcel that is to the east side of Venetian Palms Boulevard. The zoning is PUD. On November 3rd, 2025, a notice of violation was created for signs located on the property without a permit. On November 4th, 2025, I hand-delivered the notice of violation and notice of hearing to Brian Massengill, who is inside the model home. He told me that he would make sure that they get to the proper people with Natelli Communities. I also sent a copy of the notices via email to multiple people with Natelli Communities. I've been in conversation with a bunch of them. The notice of violation gave a compliance date of November 11th. A copy was mailed certified mail to the property owner of record and was signed for and accepted on November 7th. On November 12th, a follow-up inspection showed the violations still existed. There was this one is still the same. Therefore, it is my recommendation that special magistrate find Venetian Bay 6 LLC and/or entity in violation of the violations cited, 604.12B for signs prohibited, and 604.12D for signs requiring a permit, and give until December 5th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance. If the owner does not come into compliance, it is my recommendation to impose a fine in the amount of $125 per day per violation until the property is brought into full compliance.
And for this case, a few questions based on the backup. I see the photos of the signs. You said none of those have been modified. That remains on site?
Correct.
Okay. And this site also has a violation for installation of pavers without a permit. Is that correct?
No, not this one. Wait, yes, this is 110, sorry. Everything is been moving fast with having the other hearing last week.
No worries.
Yes, there's an application submitted for the pavers for the parking lot. There are two signs that are in the right-of-way
Okay.
on this one, and then the signs that are in the parking lot themselves.
Okay.
The
Perfect.
permit application still shows that it's in review, because it was just
The
submitted not
paver
too long
permit.
ago.
And there are no permit applications in for the signs?
Correct. They're in the right-of-way, so they won't permit them where they are anyways, but they could move them.
Noted. Okay. Thank you. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? As you come forward, state your name and affiliation with the property for me.
How are you?
Good.
David Boucher, production manager for Ryan Homes.
Perfect.
Gossip Malone, land development manager for Ryan Homes.
Perfect. And if you guys will stay close to the mic for the recordings for us.
Sure. I think this is the first one out of several. There's a little confusion on it. This does have to do with the parking permit. Okay, the pavers, we did ask when we built the model home if that was part of it. They said yes, they inspected it. Once we got the violation, we got back with the building officials. They stated yes, they did check it. It was approved. They did check it. It is correct, but we do need to get a permit, so we did turn in for a permit for it.
Okay.
So we got that done. The signs, that's a little bit on me. It's my confusion. Again, this is Natalie that you talked to. I actually received the fines from her. My understanding was the signs were the ones out in front that I think we're going to talk about coming up next. But what we see here is typically we put flags out for all of our communities. We just use the solid flags rather than having the tall, wavy ones that end up looking bad and do that. This is typically what we put up for it. We haven't had issues in the past. And if it's not allowed, we didn't know that. We weren't aware.
And also, there's a little bit of confusion as it pertains.
Go ahead.
There's a little bit of confusion as it pertains to the code. If you look at the residential community code for signs for new developments, it does allow for some signage. There's a little bit of disagreement, maybe a little bit of confusion, and we would need your help in interpreting which signs are allowed and which signs are not allowed. We've thus far on all the violations have addressed the ones that we believe are in conflict with the code. Right now, there's one sign that remains outside that we think is in compliance with the new development residential code. And there are signs within the community that have to remain there because of OSHA requirements, that's federally mandated signage we have to put up. We're more than happy to work with the city to determine what permits are needed, but as it stands right now, we believe we are in compliance with our interpretation of the code.
Okay, so I will state, just from overall, even flag signs require a permit. Temporary signage is my understanding. And so I think the entire sign package requires kind of a review.
Right.
Are you noting that the signs that are in the right-of-way have been removed from the right-of-way?
The signs in the right-of-way have been removed.
Okay.
I believe there's one sign, the one that's outside is
Originally talking to it, we're talking about on State Road 44. We had two large signs there, one at the stoplight, one at the entrance to the community, and then we had 6 small signs. We removed the 2 large signs and 5 of the other signs and left one up at the entranceway, one of the small ones.
Okay. And I'm going to, this is a page from the packet, you're talking about this sign? Is that?
Yeah, that sign was removed.
That was sign was
Okay.
removed, yes. And there's also some confusion as to the size of the signs. So whether, if this is for the flag signs, whether that includes the post or does not include the post. Just by, looking at the code, it looks like the intent was for the post not to be included because it's only like a couple square feet. So, any reasonable flag signage is going to be more than a couple of square feet.
Sure, so in order to determine whether you're in compliance or not, I would need a sign package permit to review. And then if
Right.
there are questions, we could of course talk about it, but that will really be a building permitting determination.
Right.
Not so much my role. So here today, we're finding if a violation exists or not. The main resolution of all of these that I'm seeing is to apply for permits and go through that process.
Correct.
Okay.
I think what we'll do is we'll make an initial finding. If you'll get with staff and make sure that you have the full scope of what's needed, what you guys have done already, and if that's good and what you need further, we will have a date for compliance. As you've kind of seen in other cases, if you have the permit set in and it's under review, we'll work with you guys. We just want to see compliance continue here. But there is little to no signage other than required signage, like the government signage that doesn't require a permit, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that one then, I think it's coming up, the 3 signs within the community, is that one of them? So that one's, apply for a permit for those? Okay. So
And-
even if they're OSHA required signs, that's something we need to do for that? We've never done it in the past.
I would include it and have the city review it and tell you whether a permit's needed or not. That way you've got all your bases covered.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
and I would say any interpretation of the code that you bring to the code enforcement direction, they can always contact the city attorney's office and we can review what you believe is the code and what they believe the code and then give them our legal opinion on it.
Okay. And then you said this is all through the building department?
The permitting department,
the
building and
permit.
permitting, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So when, do you want to set a next date as to when all this needs to be put in so we can start working on that?
I will set a compliance date. And again, if you've made progress towards that, and we need to come back and say it's in review, you've got minor comments or something like that, we'll hear that at that time.
Okay.
I think for now, we will look and see, let's see. There are different ones proposed for each case, so I want to make it consistent because you're the operators of all of the four.
Yeah, Natelli is the developer for it.
Okay.
We're building the homes. Yes.
Perfect. So then I think the latest proposed compliance date, which would be getting your package together and submitted for my purposes to show progress, is going to be December 15th. And so if we can set December 15th as the compliance date, if you're not in compliance, you'll come back to this hearing on January 28th, 2025. And so that will be our finding. If there are similar facts and circumstances for the next three cases, I can just recognize those
Okay.
if you'd like, so you don't have to get up and say the same thing again.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything to add there before I close this one? Right.
No.
Then based on the record and the testimony provided, we will find the property is currently in violation of LDR 604.12A, 604.12B, 604.12D, 26.172, and 26.171A permits required. We will order that the property come into compliance by December 15th, 2025. And if the property is not found in compliance by that date, a fine of $50 per day for each section of the code that remains in violation may be imposed. At our next hearing date, this will come back to January 28th, 2025 at 2 p.m. here in these chambers. This brings us to our next item, which is CCSM 0591-2025 Tiger Palm Way.
Yeah, this is the one that he was talking about for the OSHA signs, but again, the signs are in the right-of-way, and they don't have a permit.
Okay.
All
So-
the same information as far as the case number CCSM 0579-2025. It is the parcel number, it's a vacant parcel with Venetian Bay 6 LLC as the property owner. And again, I've been trying to work with everybody regarding signs since July. And on this one, it's going to be signs that are prohibited because they're in the right of way and they don't have a permit.
Okay. Got it. And then I don't know if I can judicially notice things, but I will pull in the testimony and facts from the previous item as well, to the extent they carry over here. I will ask that if, in the permit review, if there is a determination from building and permitting that says these are exempt signs or safety requirements or something they're allowed, that would suffice for you for compliance, I would assume.
Yes,
Perfect.
absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to keep that for the record. And then I will say, does anyone wish to speak to this item? Again, you don't have to, we'll carry it over, but you're welcome to. Okay, seeing none for this case for CCSM 0579-2025, we will find the property is currently in violation of 604.12B and 604.12D. We will request that the property come into compliance by December 15th, 2025. If the property is not in compliance by that date, a fee of $125 per day for each violation may be imposed, and the case will be returned to the special magistrate on January 28th, 2026 at 2 p.m. here in these chambers. Our next item.
CCSM 0577-2025. Again, the owner is Venetian Bay 6 LLC. This is the property, vacant parcel on the east side of 44 at Venetian Palms Boulevard. And those are the signs that were there. And as of today, this afternoon, I went by there, and there were 2 of those signs gone. and the flag's still there, one of the other signs. I think they call them Burma signs,
Okay.
which is the shorter ones.
Mm-hmm.
And that big one right there is gone. So there's still 2 flags. Actually, the ordinance for flags specifically states that if they wave, if the air waves them, then it's not a flag. So in my opinion, they're not flags, they're signs.
Okay. Noted. Let me see here. If I look confused, it's because I just think I'm missing a tab in my binder, and I want to make sure that I've got them all.
Good, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah. You're good.
I'm getting all my cases like all jumbled up. I want to make sure that I have the right ones with the right violations on them.
Okay, it's the last one I said tiger palms, but it was Venetian palms, and this one is tiger palms. So, no, this
No.
one is also Venetian palms.
This one is 44 at the corner of Venetian Palms Boulevard. The other one with the 3 or 4 signs was for Tiger Palm.
Because they're all one owner, they're all in one tab. I'm tracking now.
Yeah.
Okay. So then with this one, similar to the last 2, I will bring in the testimony and facts of the last 2. We've heard from city staff. If the property owner or representative has anything additional to add for this site, you can come forward. If not, we can just recognize what we did prior. Okay. Based on the record and the testimony provided, we will find the property currently in violation of 604.12D, signs permits, and 604.12B, signs prohibited. We will order the property into compliance by December 15th, 2025, or a fine of $125 per day for each section of code that remains in violation may be imposed. And this case will return back to the magistrate on January 28th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in these chambers. And then we will be on CCSM 0591, 2025.
You're right. It was Tiger Palm for the last one.
We've got it.
Holidays are coming.
We're going to treat them comprehensively as a whole, although they are separate violations.
So this one again is the common area because it's at a roundabout right before you get to the roundabout. So those signs there, they are the OSHA signs that he's talking about, but they are in the right of way. So even no permit and that the fact that they're in the right of way. I'm sorry, this one, the code case is CCB 0591-2025. Prohibited signs and signs without a permit.
Just to clarify for me, these OSHA signs are the same signs but in a different location within the neighborhood than the previous violation we just looked at? Or I was looking at this tab.
Still in the same neighborhood.
I flipped
Just
the tab too
that's
early.
If you go down Venetian Palms Boulevard,
Yep.
right before the roundabout, they're on the left.
Okay, let's see here.
So on all 4 of these cases, the notice of violation, notice of hearing was sent out via USPS and certified returns and receipt mail. They were signed for on November 7th, 2025, and I hand-delivered the notice instead of posting it. I hand-delivered it to Brian.
Okay. Perfect. All right. I will also notice the testimony and information provided by the representative in the other cases. If they have anything additional to add, if not, we will treat this one similarly. So we will find the property currently in violation of 604.12.B, signs prohibited. We will order the property into compliance by December 15th, 2025, or a fine of $250 per day for code violation of 604.12B may be imposed. And this will return back to the special magistrate for hearing on January 28th, 2026 at 2 o'clock in these chambers. That is our last sign violation for this one,
Yes.
for those signs. although a sign is involved in the next one. So that is CCSM 0553, 2025, 300 Crawford Road. Thank you.
Thank you. This one I'd like to continue until the January hearing. They have they've removed the sign, and I'm working with them on the expired permit.
Perfect. That sounds like good
Do I need to
progress.
read the case out too? Sorry.
I will read it out. It's no problem there. So for CCSM 0553, 2025, we will, well, does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? A continuance is proposed.
Did you want to speak?
Okay, perfect. We'll note that you were present. Eh, Sure, if you'll come forward and state your name for the record and affiliation with the property.
Yeah, Joseph Rago, owner of 300 Crawford Road. As far as the sign, obviously, that's down, as mentioned, and then also the BTR. I have emailed Kathleen this morning and let her know that we no longer rent the property.
Okay.
So I have a copy of that email if you want
Sure,
that.
we can put it in the backup.
And then
Essay.
And then as far as the roofing piece, I had no idea that it wasn't finalized. It was completed in 2023. So I've reached out to the contractor about this via both email and telephone, and hopefully we can get this underway and get it taken care of.
Sure, certainly.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. I will note, we've run into it in the past, keep on the contractor, because if they don't answer, you'll have to reapply for that permit and get it inspected again with someone else, which could take some time. So then based on the record and the testimony, we are going to continue this case until January 28th, 2026,
Okay.
to check on status of that permit. And so that will be here in these chambers at 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Which brings us to our last item, which is CCSM 0207, 2025, 315 Rush Street.
The address is 315 Rush Street, case number CCSM 0207-2025. This property is zoned R4 multifamily residential. Violation cited, section 26-171, subsection A, permits required, and section 74-146, local business tax imposed. On April the 9th, 2025, I observed rock shell had been placed on the property expanding the driveway. A check of the permit system found no permit had been issued, and there was no BTR for the property that is listed as an LLC. On April the 11th, 2025, a notice of violation was posted on the property with initial compliance date of May the 21st, 2025. A copy was also mailed certified mail to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on April the 14th, 2025. There have been several conversations with the owner regarding the violation, and the case has been extended several times. On October the 6th, 2025, a check of the permit system found that no permit action has taken place. They have not applied for one, and there has been no application for a BTR. On October the 9th, 2025, a notice of hearing was posted on the property. A copy was also mailed, certified mail to the property owner, and was signed for and accepted on October the 14th, 2025. It is my recommendation the special magistrate find 315 Rush Street LLC and/or entity in violation of section 26-171A and section 74-146 and give until December the 30th, 2025 to bring the property into full compliance. If the owner does not come into compliance, it's my recommendation to impose a fine of $50 per day for section 26-171, subsection A, and per Florida statute, section 205.053, a one-time fine of $250 be imposed for operating without a BTR for section 74-146 until the property is brought into full compliance. fine not to exceed $15,000.
Question, is the property
Sure.
rented?
It doesn't appear to be, but it is an LLC, and because of that, it's a company in the city of New Smyrna Beach, which the code requires a BTR issues.
To do business?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would be cautious of the LLC. If it's just a house placed in an LLC, which is a limited liability corporation, which I understand where you're going from there, it could be just for personal liability and may not be operating a business, and the point of a business tax receipt is for people operating a business. So
Right.
I'm not sure about that violation.
That's, again, that we rely upon our business tax representative, Kathleen, to guide us in that. She advises that one is required based on her, but that's just what she advises us, so.
Yeah, if it's just a my understanding is this was a residential property
It is, that I know of, yes.
that is not operating a business out of it. So permits required, absolutely, I agree with that, but I'm not sure about the local business tax. I think Ms. Adel and our office have been having conversations about this. I have not been privy to those conversations, but at this point in time, I would be cautious of finding violation on that.
Okay, thank you. Unless a business was occurring rental
Right,
or something like
correct.
that. Right. Okay, noted. All right, I do not have questions on this one. You stated there were no permits in process for the
There's
driveway.
nothing, no permit in the system at this time, no.
Okay. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item?
I believe he's here.
If you'll come forward and state your name and affiliation with the property for us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt Lucas. I'm the owner of 315 Rush Street. That is my permanent residence. It is not
Not a rental.
rented, nor has it ever been rented, but I did acquire the BTR when I noticed, there was another notice put on my window. I didn't realize it when I was deactivated from my job. I met with Kathleen last week. I don't have a copy of it, but I do have the reference number. It's BTR-001039-2025. So that's been taken care of. The fee was also paid. The permit, I want to thank the city for being so patient with my situation here. I'm a permanent resident of New Smyrna Beach, and I was in violation. I did do the extension of the drive without a permit. I had been working on it, and I tried to communicate as much as possible with the construction department. I did have a survey. My problem was I was having a tough time finding a surveyor to get this squared away. I did hire a local surveyor. He was out there on November 20th. He did a survey. I didn't even realize that I called his wife before coming into the meeting or the hearing, and I have a full-blown survey. I have my local landscape contractor that's got the permit ready. It wouldn't allow me to take it to the fourth step, because I had no PDF file to submit on behalf of the survey. So that's going to probably be done this afternoon or tomorrow. But then my hearing for, I believe, this permit, no permit for my driveway is scheduled the 26th of November, is what I have.
No, that's today. That's,
Was there a revision done?
so November 26th was the original date. It got moved because of the holiday.
Okay, because I was
the
going to say I'm
26th will
going to
be
go out of
Thanksgiving.
town to visit
Sure.
the family.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be able to attend that.
So
But
that's
it's all,
today.
it's all
Yeah.
in the workings, and I'm so, I apologize for dragging it on so long, but
No
I
worries.
believe we're moving in the right direction.
So if we find, what we're doing today is just the first step. It's to
Yes.
find that a violation exists and to give you a reasonable time to correct it. So in this case, correcting it will be getting your permit.
Yes.
And so if we give you until December 30th, you
Yes.
should have that permit in
Yeah.
by that time.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Perfect. Okay. Anything else to add?
Nope, thank you for your patience,
Okay.
and everyone, enjoy your holiday.
And you do not need to come back in 2 days. Have a wonderful
Yeah.
Thanksgiving holiday. Yeah. So we will find the property Currently in violation of section 26-171A, permits required. We will not find a violation on the business tax receipt. We will find that the property be brought into compliance by December 30th, 2025. If it's not in compliance, a fine of $50 per day for section 26-171 may be imposed. And this hearing, or this case, will come back to the magistrate on January 28th, 2026 at 2 o'clock if necessary.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And with that, that is our last item on the agenda, I believe. So does anyone have any staff updates or comments? No, seeing none. Have a wonderful holiday week, everyone. Thank you, and we are adjourned.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we don't even have a Christmas one, right?